In today's video, we're going to be going over something interesting that happened recently, and it has to do with the official PlayStation Magazine Twitter account, where they actually put out a poll asking which PlayStation 5 launch title we are most excited for. And so I'm going to probably ask the question in the title, did the official PlayStation Magazine accidentally reveal the PlayStation 5's launch lineup? Now, I want to say the answer to this is yes and no. I want to say no because they actually said on their Twitter account here, I guess because they were getting a lot of questions about it, a lot of people were really paying close attention to this poll, they responded and said, obviously this is speculation on our part, we are not confirming anything, just let us know what you want to play on PS5. And so that's why I want to say no. But at the same time, I want to say yes because we do have to think about where this is coming from and why this poll seems so definitive, right? This is coming from the official PlayStation Magazine, which means they are directly associated with Sony. I also want to say that it's kind of a given that at least one of these titles here are going to be playable on the PlayStation 5 day one. One of the titles that they have listed here of the four options is Ghost of Tsushima PS5, which actually took 24% of the vote. We know that it's going to be playable on the PlayStation 5 due to backwards compatibility. We also know that Sony has confirmed it is still a PlayStation 4 released title, or will be released on the PlayStation 4. So it's not going to just be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. The other games that they have here are Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Last of Us Part 2 Online, and Killzone Online. And what's actually missing here seems to be the Demon's Souls remaster or remake, that there's just more and more mounting evidence pointing to this being a launch title as well for the PlayStation 5. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is for sure confirmation of the PlayStation 5 launch, honestly. It wouldn't make sense if you think about it. I mean, I could see Sony 100% releasing some type of online component for for The Last of Us Part 2 or something like Killzone at the launch of the PlayStation 5, but I certainly wouldn't see Sony releasing two separate multiplayer components at the same time. That just wouldn't make much sense, or maybe it would. It's hard to say exactly. I mean, one is a first-person shooter, and there actually are a lot of people who are anticipating something new from Guerrilla Games at the launch of the PlayStation 5. Now, many of us want to believe that it's going to be Horizon Zero Dawn 2, but I don't think it's likely that that game is going to be ready to launch alongside the PlayStation 5. I think it will release as like the first big holiday title for the PlayStation 5, like a year later potentially, or maybe even, an early 2021 game. I know that sounds so far away, but you have to remember that the PlayStation 5 won't be launching until potentially, most likely, November of 2020. So we'll be, right there going into 2021. Seems so far away, but yeah, a lot of people were asking questions about this poll here, and, people were asking, is this confirmation that Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a launch title? And the official PlayStation Magazine replies with nope. And then somebody else replies with a Robert De Niro pointing, saying, you, like, we're on to you, PlayStation Magazine. We know what you're doing here. Another person asks, what are you implying? And somebody says, so Guerrilla is making a new Killzone and Horizon Zero Dawn 2. And they're just saying, just speculation on our part. Somebody's screaming for Bloodborne 2, which I have to agree with that. I'd love to see a Bloodborne 2. But the point I'm trying to get at here is that people are very much aware of the fact that this is not just a random Twitter account. This is not, a random gaming outlet. This is the official PlayStation Magazine. They are associated with Sony. And so the fact that this tweet's still up, they covered themselves by saying it's just speculation, but surely the individuals who work over there at PlayStation Magazine, I would have to imagine they have some type of inside information, right? I mean, how could you not when you work that closely to Sony? But again, I don't think Horizon Zero Dawn 2 also got 45% of the vote here, so that actually won this poll based off of around a little over 3,000 votes, which isn't a lot of votes, but most people who voted for this, they want Horizon Zero Dawn 2 as a launch title. I personally don't expect that. It would be amazing if it was, though. I'll tell you this, if Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a launch title, well, that just seals the deal for Sony right there, right? But The Last of Us Part 2 Online actually had 22% of the vote, and this one, in my opinion, is the most interesting. I fully 110% expect The Last of Us Online. Now, they say The Last of Us Part 2 Online, but whatever it is, it's not going to be associated with The Last of Us Part 2. If you read the message that Naughty Dog put out in regards to them, the confusion surrounding whether or not there's going to be Last of Us Part 2 Online or if there's going to be a multiplayer component. If you read that message, they make it crystal clear that whatever this is, which it's going to be Last of Us related, it's not going to be associated with Part 2. Part 2 is going to be its own thing, and it will most likely, get some PlayStation 5 enhancements for sure. We've also heard the rumor that apparently in February, that's when we're going to get one of the official PlayStation 5 reveal events, and when that happens, Sony's planning on showing the Last of Us Part 2 off as a PS5 title, which will be interesting if that turns out to be true, especially considering how, if it is true, they're going to be doing it in the same launch month of the game. So we'll see about that. But yeah, The Last of Us Online, it's going to be a real thing. Mark my words. I know that I maybe sound a little bit overly confident here. No, I do not have any type of insider info or anything like that. I don't really do things like that. Nobody talks to me in that way. And I wouldn't want to really say that on my channel anyway, because if I did, it's just like, oh, well, you just have to take my word for it. I'm just saying, as a prediction that I am very confident in, there will be a multiplayer component that launches. I want to say it will be there at the launch of the PlayStation 5, and it's going to be a huge deal. Like, people are going to be, I think, pretty blown away by what Naughty Dog is planning on doing. They're essentially... And I know people are going to hate that I say this, but it's the best way I can compare it. Sony wants their own Fortnite, and so they're going to take their biggest property, that being The Last of Us. I mean, it definitely holds the most weight, I'd say, out of anything they have. Maybe Uncharted, things like Spider-Man, but I'm talking about like a first-party IP here. They're going to take The Last of Us, and they're going to make a massive multiplayer, free-to-play game. At least I'm assuming it will be free-to-play. I know a lot of people don't think it will be, but I have a good feeling that it will be. And they're going to launch that alongside the PS5. And when I say it's going to be their own Fortnite, I don't mean it's literally it's going to be anything like Fortnite. I just mean in the sense that, when you talk about games as a service, we know Sony wants to start getting involved in this in a big way. And I'd be insanely excited for that. But talking about Killzone Online here, there was something I heard not that long ago, talking about Colin Moriarty for a second and his Sacred Symbols PlayStation podcast. I think it was like 2 podcasts ago. I can't remember which number it was, but I remember listening to it not that long ago, and he was talking about these games that he's clearly, he knows what they are to an extent, and he can't reveal them. One of them is the Demon's Souls remake that we're, patiently waiting for the announcement for. But I remember he was talking about Guerrilla Games and the second project that they're working on. We know they have a second studio that's working on something, and he was kind of heavily hinting at the fact that it's not Killzone related. Now, maybe I could have been confused by what he was trying to say. Maybe he was just simply saying it is Horizon Zero Dawn 2, but I feel like that's too obvious. You don't need to hint that, you know what I mean? You don't have to allude to anything. We know that they're working on 2 projects. We automatically know one of them is Horizon Zero Dawn 2. The question is, what is the other project? And he made it seem like it's more likely, or he says it in this way, like it's more likely, but I have a feeling he knows for sure it's going to be something new. It's not going to be Killzone, and pretty much Killzone as of right now is resting. Now, I know that there's some people who may be upset at that because there's a lot of people who are Killzone fans and they would love to see a return to that. But if you look at this poll here, again, it's only based off of 3,000 votes, but Killzone only has 10% of the vote. So, I don't think many people would be upset if we find out that whatever Guerrilla Games, their second team, is working on, if it's something completely new. We've seen just what they're capable of when, they're able to take risks and do something new and do something interesting with Horizon Zero Dawn 2. So I don't think Killzone Online is likely, and I don't think, that... I think that if there's anything here that really kind of makes it seem like this is truly just speculation on the official PlayStation Magazine's part, it's going to be that right there. I'm not expecting another Killzone. I think it would be interesting, but regardless, we do know we're getting something. We're getting something from Guerrilla's second team, and I'm going to be really excited to see what it is. And then once again here at the bottom, we have Ghost of Tsushima for PS5. Now, I just think that this is incredibly interesting. I mean, if I'm being honest, to answer the question in the title, no, I don't think that they revealed anything here. I don't think whoever made this poll has some kind of insider information, and this was their, their way of just kind of revealing things low-key. But I will say that the fact that they have The Last of Us Part 2 online here, if there's anything that I think people are very much need to prepare for, if I'm being honest here, is just how Sony's going to be, they're going to be expanding going into the PlayStation 5 in a good way. They're not going to be abandoning single-player games or big, large AAA games. By no means are they doing that, but they are certainly going to be dabbling more into multiplayer games, games as a service. And here's the thing, I know some people can't stand that, but I love both multiplayer and single-player games, so I'm personally excited for that. For example, I will be ecstatic if one of the big launch titles we get with the PlayStation 5 is a massive online standalone component to The Last of Us Part 2, but I would be just as excited, if not even more excited, if it's Horizon Zero Dawn 2. The point is, Sony has a lot of different avenues they can take here, and I'm expecting some big things. I think that this would be a really strong launch lineup if this were to be the case. This would be insanely strong. I mean, if the day that the PS5 launched, we got Horizon Zero Dawn 2, The Last of Us Part 2 online, Killzone online, and PS5 enhanced Ghost of Tsushima, and maybe even Last of Us Part 2, that would be stellar. But this, I don't think, is realistic, and I think anybody who maybe thought that this was them secretly revealing it, no, I doubt that. I think it's more likely we are going to get Blue Point's next game that launches as the big PlayStation 5 launch title. I do not think, and I know some people are going to get saddened by this, but I do not think it's realistic to expect Horizon Zero Dawn 2 to be a launch title. I think there will be a standalone multiplayer Last of Us component, which is going to sit right alongside the Demon's Souls remake, and that's going to be the big multiplayer offering that Sony's going to have day one. And I think that those, frankly, are going to be the two big things. If we do get Guerrilla's game, I don't think it's going to be a launch title like their second team. I think it's more likely we'll get that within the first year of the PlayStation 5's life cycle. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I don't want it to turn out too long. I wanted to take some time to talk about this, speculate about it, and really it just gives me an excuse to once again talk about what we can expect in terms of games when it comes to the PS5's launch lineup. It's very exciting. I can't wait to find out for sure what we're going to be getting. But at this point, I'm going to ask you to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think about these games that are listed here as launch titles? Are you interested in any of them? Do you think that any of these will for sure be there day one? And if not, what games would you like to see at the launch of the PlayStation 5? We'll be interested to see what you guys have to say. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it. Really helps it out. Lets me know you guys are enjoying the content. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.